Is there even a print? Is there even a 3D printer that big? Well, I mean, you could print out the pieces, the walls, the floors, the ceiling, but I mean, how will the 3D printing of a barracks cost less than simply upgrading existing barracks? Right? Because just recently we got wind of, well, it's not a new problem, but it probably is, to people that didn't know, the ongoing mold problem inside of military barracks and shit like that. At one point, my barracks had a little bit of mold in it, just a little bit. It wasn't too bad. And I didn't even notice it. It was like the fucking health and welfare that noticed it. It was nothing major, man. But there's a lot of barracks that have fucking mold, right? So how much would it cost? Would it cost less to get rid of the mold? Because if it costs less to do upkeep on existing barracks, then why not just do upkeep on existing barracks? So I guess, yeah, upkeep the old ones, but I guess it cost more to make a brick and mortar style barracks, because like the barracks that I stayed in, dude, especially in basic training, it was all brick. Like that brick you have in elementary school that's just like blocks, like kind of like big blocks, like that, and then it goes on to the next block and the next block, and you're looking at this thing and you're just like, wow, this is just one big thing of fucking stone. Like the whole school's made of this. I'm just wondering if this is gonna save money or if it's gonna cost more money than what it's worth. Or maybe it'll cost the same amount of money, right? I don't know, man. In the world of 3D printing, I know that shit's not cheap to the regular man, and the military's paying for it, and they like to overspend. So I don't know. How old is a building in a military base? It depends, man. You go through a military installation, you might see a brand new building, and then 30 seconds later, you might see a building that's been there since the installation first started, right? So, dog, I remember taking classes at Fort Stewart, Georgia. I remember taking classes in buildings that damn near almost looked like trailers, but these buildings had been there for like 40, 50, 60 years. Out in like kind of like the middle of nowhere, with like no roads. It was like all grass getting to these buildings. And you could tell that they used these buildings for like training. They also used it for like education purposes and stuff like that. But like they were some old ass buildings, dog. And I'm just like, good God. Like at any point, I feel like I'm about to fall through the floor. Would these barracks also be something that could be easily set up in a combat zone? It's 3D printing, man. So like, I assume that that's just as easy as like putting pieces together. And it'll literally have like grooves and shit to put these pieces together. Or would it still be just as easy to set up a 10-man tent, like what I stayed in? I didn't really feel like those 10-man tents were bad either. Just a tent, had air conditioning, it had heating when it was cold, it had fucking cold when it was hot, right? So nothing to complain about there. Did we need a 3D printed barracks or a tent? Not really. We were pretty good where we were in the stand, but I think this is mainly for on the installation in America type shit. Bonus. The Army and Navy may soon use alternative methods for building barracks, including 3D printing, in an effort to reduce the financial burden. Is it gonna be a reduction in the financial burden? I would say so, yeah. 3D printing should be cheaper than, some of these actual barracks that are made of like brick and cement and all that shit. Top engineers for the respective services met with lawmakers on Capitol Hill on Tuesday to discuss the potential use of 3D printing and mass timber construction as a means of maximizing cost efficiency. So you're still going to be using wood whilst 3D printing? Be like a hybrid of two things? I guess. That's cutting costs? I don't know. Dave Morrow, Director of Military Programs for the Corps of Engineers, and Keith Hamilton, Chief Engineer for Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, spoke with members of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Defense. The group also discussed the high-performance cement, geosynthetics, composite materials, tension fabric structures, and carbon-reinforced polymers according to the release. It seems like they really are preparing for the E4 Mafia here. Look at all that. That's some shit that seems like a off-the-grid tent that Bruce Wayne would stay in. It just doesn't seem as cheap as they're making it sound. That seems expensive. But if it's 3D printed, bro, it's 3D. I guess. Who am I to argue with you? I guess. But hey, man, I'm not complaining. That's that's good, man. Get these soldiers out of all this fucking mold. You know the best part about some of these materials? They won't mold. Carbon fiber? I don't think carbon fiber molds, does it? Geosynthetics? That doesn't seem like it molds, right? That's just me. In an increasingly complex global security environment, our commitment to innovation in military construction is not just about building structures. It's about building the resilience and readiness our forces need to prevail, Morrow said. He emphasized the importance of using cutting-edge construction methods to deliver sustainable and cost-effective infrastructure to provide service members with high-end facilities. Wow, so like, they really are branching out, Kat. They're no longer using this mentality of shut the fuck up, soldier. All you need is a hole and a rifle. That's it, really, for the most part. That's the only facilities you need. A hole to piss and shit in and a rifle. Clap, they're kidding. But I don't think this is gonna be barracks while they're I mean, dude, imagine seeing this while you're deployed. Imagine having this while you're deployed. That'd be a dope-ass little living quarters to stay in. Now, I doubt it's gonna be a combat thing, though, because this just seems like something that would take more than a minute to set up. Then again, those tents, a whole fob of tents probably took a minute to set up too, but anyways. Mara said the technologies they seek to implement have already been put to use in several military installations. Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida, and Fort Bliss, Texas have already both used 3D printing, he pointed out, the latter specifically for projects involving barracks. Okay. The Navy, and you know what, this is not only good for the fact that, again, you know, you won't have to deal with a lot of the shit that you have to deal with when it comes to old wood and cement and, you know, that type of infrastructure, but this is also going to be very soldier proof, is what it sounds like. And if something breaks, it seems like it'd be something easy to replace. I would hope so. Couldn't you just like map out the broken piece where the soldier slammed his head through it and just print out an exact little thing, you know, given the specifications? Seems like something that would be easy to pop back in there, I suppose. Almost like living inside of a Lego house. That's what I would feel like it was. If I were, I don't know, man. These things are gonna get put to the test though. You put young soldiers in these things. They're gonna get put to the test, believe you me. Young soldiers, E4 and below, E4 Mafia, stupid ass E3s, know nothing E2s, naive E1s. Oh lord, your barracks gonna get put through the test. We'll see how it goes. The Navy had already employed the use of mass timber, Hamilton said, to build a child development center in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Dude, that's where I live. The practice of mass timber construction involves sourcing structural beams that come from smaller lumber. The first Army barracks made using mass timber structural elements was recently completed, according to Hamilton, with another potential mass timber project on the horizon at Mountain Home Air Force. Where the fuck is that? Mountain Home Air Force Base? I've never heard of that day in my life. Timber, huh? I don't know, man. My experience, wood burns. But then again, so did the tent that I stayed in, so whatever. Hamilton also cited that the use of performance concrete to build an F-35 Lightning II hangar at Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, North Carolina as a viable method for future construction. Cool. I really do wonder, like, I really wanted, okay, so who did they say had it? And is there a video on it? Can we see what these already printed Fort Bliss and Tyndall Air Force Base have already both started using 3D printing, specifically for projects involving barracks? I'd like to see it. See what it looks like. Or maybe they just 3D printed a toilet. Some stupid ass E1 got a little bit too squirrely with some cherry bombs. I don't know. What did y'all 3D print? Concrete cloth is no longer an option. I don't know what that is and specifically what that does, Major. But yeah, they're trying to go to 3D printing, and let me see if I can I can take you over the. Here it is. High performance cement. I'm gonna go over it again. High performance cement, geosynthetics, composite material, tension fabric structures, carbon fiber reinforced polymers, according to the release. That just sounds like Batman talking to Lucius about a new suit, to be honest. That is cool though, man. It's cool that, you know, getting some new. It's always nice when we get new stuff. And it's not just for special operations. I just hope that this geosynthetics, composite material, tension fabric structures, and carbon fiber reinforced polymers is not more expensive than what we currently are doing right now as far as barracks. And I mean, it's pretty much no money at all if you're deployed, because your barracks are tents. I don't think that's ever gonna change. That's too easy of a setup, and it's already too comfortable. I had a bed, that's all I needed, really. As long as I didn't get rained on. I mean, hopefully. Get a lot of these soldiers out of the barracks that they're currently in, where they refuse to fix the mold problem. Boeing begins 3D printing Apache helicopter parts. How much faith would y'all have in a 3D printed helicopter part? Huh? My worry isn't that it's not going to be printed properly. My worry is that it's not going to have the same integrity as an actual part, which is probably made of, like, I don't know, metal, steel, some kind of, I don't know, man. The 3D printing world is going crazy. And it's taken over the military.